Hello students, welcome to grade 10 chemistry class. In today's class I am going to start a new topic, periodic classification of elements. In the previous classes we have learnt about atomic structure, and in the study of atomic structure we have learnt about various atomic models, of which Sommerfield's atomic model has laid the foundation for the classification of elements, which is known as periodic classification of elements. Now let's get started with today's topic. Periodic classification of elements. The arrangement of elements into different groups on the basis of similarities in their properties is known as classification of elements. So here the first topic is classification of elements. What is classification of elements? Classification of elements means it is the arrangement of elements into different groups. So here all the elements which were known, they were arranged in different groups, and this group is made basing on the similarities in their properties. Basing on the properties of the elements, that is the physical properties and the chemical properties, they are arranged into groups. This is known as classification of elements. So here, to group the elements, the chemical properties of the elements were also considered. Now, the classification of similar elements into groups helps us to study the properties of them easier. So, what's the use of grouping these elements is, here when the elements, similar elements are grouped together, they help us to study the properties of all the elements present in the group easily. So by now, including synthetic elements, there are more than 115 elements. So right now, including the synthetic elements, the number of elements available are more than 115 elements. So it is difficult to learn or to know about the properties of all of them individually. Instead, when the elements are arranged in groups, so when you study the properties of one element of a group, we can know all the properties of the elements of that group. So in this way, classification of elements helps us to know the properties of all the elements easily. As more elements were discovered, the study of elements and their properties and also their classification became very alive in the scientific world. Let me explain what it is. As more elements were discovered, as well as when more elements were discovered, it had become difficult to know the properties of them and to classify them also. So many scientists were tried to study the characters of elements were known and made an attempt to classify according to their characters. So here the scientists present and at the time then, they studied the characters of the elements. Characters means the behavior of the elements, the chemical properties and the physical properties of them thoroughly, and made an attempt to classify these elements according to their characters, that is according to their properties. So here classification of elements is made basing on their properties. Classification of elements by Antony Lavoisier. You must have heard this scientist named Lavoisier, who discovered oxygen, and he is also known as father of modern chemistry because he is the first person to lay the foundation for the classification of elements. So how he has classified the elements is, the elements are first classified by the French scientist Antony Lavoisier in 1789. He has classified the elements into two groups as metals and non-metals. So Antony Lavoisier is a scientist who has discovered oxygen, and he is known as father of modern chemistry. This scientist has first attempted to classify the elements into two groups as metals and non-metals. The earliest attempt to classify elements was grouping the then known elements into two groups called metals and non-metals. So the earliest attempt to classify the elements was grouping, and the grouping of the elements which were known then were only 30 elements. So Lavoisier has classified these 30 elements into two groups as metals and non-metals. So here when he has classified into only two groups as metals and non-metals, this has created a defect in it. That is, the defect in this classification was that it had no place for metalloids. Metalloids are the elements which have the properties of both metals and non-metals. So here the defect in this classification is that there is no place for metalloids, and metalloids are the elements which can have the properties of both metals and non-metals. So here Lavoisier classification has not given any place to metalloids. Then to overcome this defect, the next scientist is about Dobreiner. So this person, Dobreiner, has classified the elements by arranging them in increasing order of their atomic masses into groups of three elements called triads. How the Dobreiner had classified the elements is, he first arranged the elements in increasing order of their atomic masses, and then he has divided them into groups as triad. So here each group is of a triad, which means three elements, one group. And in each triad, the atomic mass of the middle element was approximately equal to the average atomic mass of the other two elements. So what is a Dobreiner triad means? Dobreiner triad means this Dobreiner has first arranged all the elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses, and then he divided them into a group of three elements known as triad. Tri means three. So he has arranged these three elements together as one group known as triad. And in each triad, that means in a group of three elements, the atomic mass of the middle element was approximately equal to the average atomic mass of the other two elements. The defect in this classification was that all the then known elements could not be correctly arranged into triads. So here when he has taken, or when he has arranged into a group of triads, he couldn't arrange all the elements into triads. Now here is an example of Dobreiner triad. The first triad is lithium, sodium and potassium. The atomic mass of lithium is 6.9, sodium 23 and potassium 39. So here consider this first triad, lithium, sodium and potassium. And according to Dobreiner triad, the average atomic mass of the first and third element is equal to the atomic mass of the middle element, that is the second element. So here the average of lithium and potassium should be equal to sodium. Let's see, average of 6.9 plus 39. So 39 plus 6.9, it is equal to 45.9 divided by 2, which is equal to 22.95. So here it is almost equal to 23. Hence, the Dobreiner triad is verified. Similarly, the next triad, calcium, strontium and barium. The atomic masses of them are 40, 87 and 137.3. So when we are checking the Dobreiner triad, average of 40.1 and 137.3 is equal to 88.7. So which is equal to the experimental value of strontium atomic mass, that is 87.6. So which is almost equal. So here also the Dobreiner triad is verified. Now the next triad, the third one is chlorine, bromine and iodine. The atomic masses of them are 35.5, 79.9 and 126.9. The average of chlorine and iodine atomic mass is equal to 81.2, whereas this is equal to 80. So it is nearly equal to the experimental value of bromine. So here it was verified that average atomic mass of the first and third element is equal to the atomic mass of the middle element. But the defect in the Dobereiner triad is he could not arrange all the elements in triad form. Then, to overcome this, the next attempt was made by Newland, John Newland. He is an English scientist and he arranged the known elements in the order of increasing atomic masses and called it the law of octaves. And it is known as Newland's law of octaves or Newland's concept of octaves. So here, to overcome or to solve the problem of arranging the elements, John Newland had arranged the elements in the same way how he did, that is in the order of increasing atomic masses. But he has taken a new concept, that is law of octaves. What is this law of octaves? Let's see. Here, law of octaves means oct denotes it is a number 8. So here he has taken 8 elements as one group, and these 8 elements are following the law of octave, that is the musical note of octave. The musical note of octave means when you consider a note in a music, it has sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. So here the first one and the 8th is similar. You can see that sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Again sa repeats. So this is known as a musical note. So here when he has arranged the elements, he has taken this concept of octaves and basing on the characters of the elements from hydrogen to thorium, he has arranged in the concept of octaves. So here the characteristics of Newland's law of octaves. What are the characters of Newland's law of octaves? Is it contains the elements from hydrogen to thorium, and the properties of every 8th element were similar to that of the first element, that is following the law of octaves. What he has considered or what he has taken into account is the property of every element. The properties of every 8th element were similar to that of the first element. For example, here hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and then after oxygen fluorine with atomic number 9 comes. Since it is in repetition with the properties of hydrogen, that is the note of Sir, he has brought the 8th element into under the first one. So here we can see that from hydrogen to oxygen, one group, 7 elements, again fluorine to sulfur, in which 1, 8, 17 are falling under the same group. Then cobalt and nickel, bromine are also in the same group. So here Newland's concept of octaves is that he has arranged the elements in the order of increasing atomic masses, and he has considered the law of octaves, that is the physical and chemical properties of the 8th element. Every 8th element is similar to that of the first element. Now let's see the limitations of Newland's concept of octaves. This law was applicable to elements up to calcium. So here this law was applicable only to elements with atomic number 20 and below 20, that is calcium. So when he had arranged the elements, it contained only 56 elements, means 56 elements were known then. Then those elements were arranged under the concept of octaves, and further it was assumed by Newlands that only 56 elements existed in nature and no more elements would be discovered in the future. So he has restricted to 56 elements. So his discovery of elements which were known then was only 56, and he assumed that only 56 elements exist in nature and no more elements would be discovered. In order to fit elements into the table, Newlands adjusted two elements in the same slot and also put some unlike elements under same node. So here, to adjust all these 56 elements into the table, he has adjusted two elements in the same slot. That is, two elements. In some nodes, two elements were adjusted, and in some slots he put some unlike elements under the same node. For example, cobalt and nickel are in the same slot, and these are placed in the same column as fluorine, chlorine and bromine, which have very different properties than these elements. Let me explain what is this. So here, to arrange 56 elements into the table, he has adjusted two elements together in the same slot, and in some slots he put unlike elements also under the same node. For example, cobalt and nickel were placed in the same slot. I am going to show in the next slide, that is. So here he has adjusted cobalt and nickel in the same slot, but these elements are in the same column with halogens, which have the different properties from cobalt and nickel. The halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. These are known as halogens, and they have different properties than cobalt and nickel, but he has arranged all these elements in the same slot. So here, this is a drawback of the concept. Iron, which resembles cobalt and nickel in properties, has been placed differently away from these elements. And here, another defect is that iron, which is in resemblance with the properties of cobalt and nickel, has been placed away from the elements of iron, nickel and cobalt. So here, the group of elements cobalt, nickel and iron have the same properties, but iron is placed away from cobalt and nickel, and this cobalt and nickel were placed in the slot with the halogens, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. So here is the table of 56 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 sevens are 56. So here he has arranged all these elements. You can see here, that is nickel is placed in the same slot with bromine, chlorine and fluorine. So these are known as halogens. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine are known as halogens, but cobalt and nickel are placed along with this group. So this is one drawback. The next attempt was by Dmitry Mendeleev, and his contribution is Mendeleev's periodic table. So how he has prepared this periodic table is, he has classified elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses. Means even he has taken atomic masses into consideration. Then what made the difference from Dobereiner triad is similarities in their properties. So here he has considered the elements of atomic masses, and similarities of the properties of the elements was also considered. The formula of the oxides and hydrides formed by the elements was also the basis for the classification of elements. So here the base for the classification of Mendeleev's periodic table is atomic masses, that is increasing order of the atomic masses and similarities in the properties of the elements. So here what similarities he has taken is, he has taken the account of chemical properties of compounds like oxides and hydrides. The formula of the oxides and hydrides formed by the elements was also the basis for his classification. The formula of oxide, like if I say magnesium oxide MgO, sodium oxide NaO, then magnesium hydride MgH2, calcium hydride CaH2. So here the formula of them has also taken as a basis for the classification of elements. For example, the elements in the first column react with oxygen to form compounds with the general formula R2O. So here, when he has arranged the elements in a tabular form, the elements which are in the first column, for example, when they react with oxygen to form compounds, then their general formula is R2O. For example, lithium, sodium and potassium, when react with oxygen, they form lithium oxide, that is La2O, sodium oxide Na2O and potassium oxide K2O respectively. So here, when these elements of the first group are reacting with oxygen, the general formula of them is that they form oxide. The general compound which is formed is oxide is formed, and the oxide formula is R2O. It can be lithium, sodium, potassium or anything, any element which is in the first group. All of them will form oxide with the general formula R2O. Then next, which are in the second column. Elements of the second column react with oxygen to form compounds with general formula RO. So here the elements in the second column, when they react with oxygen, they too form oxide, but the formula of them is RO. For example, beryllium, magnesium and calcium, when they react with oxygen, they form beryllium oxide BeO, magnesium oxide MgO and calcium oxide CaO. So here, basing on the formation of the compound and considering the molecular formula of them, that is the respective oxide, he has arranged the elements into groups as first group, second group. Mendeleev tried to explain the similarities of elements in the same group in terms of their common valency. So here, when he has arranged the elements basing on the chemical property of the compounds which they are forming, he has tried to explain the similarity of the elements. How he has explained them is considering the common valency, like all the first group elements are forming oxide with general formula R2O. So here all these elements like lithium, sodium and potassium valency is 1, since they are forming Li2O. Oxygen valency is 2 and these elements valency is 1. The same way, the second group elements, when they are forming the respective oxides, the general formula is RO. So here, even the elements in the second group are having the valency 2. So they are falling under the second group, and he tried to explain the similarity by considering or by taking into account of the common valency of the elements. Did you get the point? So here Dmitry Mendeleev has arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic weights, and he has also taken the chemical properties of the elements in arranging into tabular form, and he tried to explain the similarities of the elements in the same group in terms of their common valency. Means all the elements which are in the same group, they have the common valency. So the elements in the first group have the valency 1. In the same way, the elements in the second group have valency 2, and the elements in the third group have valency 3, and so on for the groups. So based on his observations regarding the properties of elements in the periodic table, a law known as periodic law of the properties of elements was proposed as follows. So basing on his observation regarding the properties of the elements, a new law was proposed, which is proposed as follows. The law states that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic weights. So, what is the law proposed is, the law states that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic weights. So, what is the law states means, according to the Mendeleev's periodic law, the physical and chemical properties of elements which are arranged, they are based on a periodic function, means a function which repeats, and that function is their atomic weight. Means here, basing on the atomic weight, the chemical properties of them are changing, and this is a periodic function for the elements. So here the law states that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic weights. So what are the salient features and achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table? So when he has arranged the elements, all the 56 elements in a tabular form, it could explain the properties of them to a very large extent than Dobereiner tried. So it was successful to a large extent. Now let's see what are those features of the Mendeleev's periodic table. So first one is groups and subgroups. There are 8 vertical columns in this periodic table called as groups. So here in this Mendeleev's periodic table, there are 8 vertical columns. Vertical means straight. There are 8 vertical columns in this periodic table called as groups, and they are represented by Roman numerals 1 to 8. So all the groups of this table are represented with the Roman numerals 1 to 8. Elements present in a vertical column have similar properties, and the elements which are present in each group have similar properties. That is, all the elements present in the first group have similar properties, and the elements in the second group, they have similar properties. So in this way, all the elements in each vertical column have similar properties. Each group is subdivided into 2 groups as A and B. Again, each group is divided into 2 subgroups as A and B. Elements within any subgroup resemble one another to a great extent. So here he has arranged the groups, and again these groups are subdivided as subgroup A and B. And the elements within any subgroup A, means the elements in subgroup A, they resemble to one another. All the elements in group A are similar. All the elements in group B are similar. For example, subgroup 1A elements called as alkali metals resemble each other very much in their properties. So the elements which are present in the first A group, that is lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium, all these elements, they resemble to a large extent in their properties. Next is periods. The horizontal rows in the periodic table are called periods. The horizontal rows are called as periods. The vertical columns are known as groups. Remember that the vertical columns are groups and the horizontal rows in the periodic table are periods. And there are 7 periods in the table which are denoted by Arabic numerals 1 to 7. Groups are denoted by the Roman numerals 1 to 8, and periods are denoted by the Arabic numerals 1 to 7. Elements in a period differ in their properties from one another. Now, the elements which are present in a period, in the first period, or second period, in that case any period, elements in a period differ in their properties. They differ from one another in their properties. Only the elements which are in the same group have similar properties. Now next point, a period comprises the entire range of elements after which properties repeat themselves. So here a period consists the elements which are different from one another in their properties. So a period comprises entire range of elements which have different properties and they repeat themselves. Again, the same properties repeat for first period, second period, and so on. So here periods in the Mendeleev's periodic table are 8 periods are present and the elements in each period differ in their properties from one another. So this is Mendeleev's periodic table which has 8 groups, that is 8 vertical columns. Vertical, this is vertical. So here all these 8 vertical columns are known as groups and they are represented with the Roman numerals 1 to 8. So this is the first group, then second group, third group, fourth group, and so on. Here you can see that the groups from 1 to 7 are divided into two subgroups as A and B, and eighth group has 3 vertical columns and all of them comes under the eighth group. Then next is about periods. So periods are the horizontal rows. So here 7 rows are present in the Mendeleev's periodic table. First period, second period starting with lithium, third period, fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, and then seventh period. So here in the Mendeleev's periodic table there are 7 periods and 8 groups, and here you can see that the groups from 1 to 7 are subdivided into two subgroups A and B, and periods are 1 to 7. And even in these periods, as it was mentioned, in some slots they are arranged together to fit all the 56 elements. Two elements together are arranged in the same slot. So this is Mendeleev's periodic table. So here the next point or the next uh, achievement of the Mendeleev's periodic table is predicting the properties of missing elements. Based on the arrangement of elements in the table, he predicted that some elements were missing and left blank in the appropriate places. So here his success lies in foreseeing. That is, when he is arranging the elements, he predicted that some elements were missing. So he left blank spaces for them. That's what you can see here and there. There are spaces, empty spaces left in the table. And almost the seventh period is almost empty. That is, he imagined that there were some elements which were missing, and he named those elements tentatively by adding the prefix eka to the name of the element immediately above each empty space. So when he has observed that some elements were missing, he left place for them and he named those elements with the prefix as ika, like to the name of the elements immediately above which. Above each empty space, he has given the new element name starting with the prefix eka. For example, the predicted properties of elements, namely eka boron, eka aluminum, and eka silicon, were close to the observed properties of scandium, gallium, and germanium, respectively, which were discovered later. So, when he felt that some elements were missing, he left spaces for them and he named those elements with the properties of the elements with which they are matching. For example, eka boron he named, which means this element is having the properties similar to boron. So he named it as boron. And later on, it was observed that this eka boron is scandium, which is having the similar properties of boron. In the same way, eka aluminum is an element which was missing then. And later on, it was observed that the Eka aluminium is an element similar to the properties of aluminium, and it is nothing but gallium. Same way, Eka silicon was germanium. So, in this way, he predicted the properties of the elements which were unknown also, and left places for them with their characteristic element. The next achievement is that the correction of atomic weights. So next achievement of Mendeleev's periodic table is he could able to correct the atomic weights of few elements. The placement of elements in this periodic table helped in correcting the atomic masses of some elements like beryllium, indium and gold. So when he has arranged the elements in an order, he could able to he could able to rectify the atomic weights calculation of some elements. For example, beryllium. Beryllium was given atomic weight 13.5 before Mendeleev's periodic table. But when he has calculated actually, atomic weight is equal to equivalent weight into valency. That is 4.5 into 3, which is equal to 13.5. So with this atomic weight actually it is placed in a wrong group. Then he corrected its valency to 2 and placed the element in second group, which properties are matching to calcium and magnesium. So in this way he could able to correct the atomic weights of few. Next is limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. Though Mendeleev's periodic table could explain or could adjust the elements which were known then, it has certain defects in it. Now let's see what they are. The first one is anomalous pair of elements. Anomalous pair means the dissimilar pair or indifferent pair of elements. What it is, let's see. Certain elements of highest atomic weights precede those with lower atomic weights. So here actually when Mendeleev periodic table was arranged, he has set up the elements in increasing order of atomic weights. So when it is in the order of increasing, when it is in ascending order, the smallest atomic weight element should come first, followed by the higher atomic weight. But it was observed that highest atomic weight is preceding those with the lower atomic weight. For example, tellurium, whose atomic weight is 127.6, precedes iodine, whose atomic weight is 126.9. Actually, when elements are arranged in increasing order, tellurium and iodine, among these two elements, iodine is having 126.9 atomic weight and the atomic weight of tellurium is 127.6. So, iodine should come first and then tellurium next. But Mendeleev had arranged the element in such a way that this had become an anomalous pair. He had arranged tellurium first, followed by iodine, which is not obeying the Mendeleev's periodic law. So this was a defect in his periodic table. The next defect is dissimilar elements are placed together. Dissimilar elements means the elements are not similar. So here elements with dissimilar properties were placed in same group as subgroup A and subgroup B. So here he felt that the elements which are in group A and B have similar properties, but it was observed with a few elements that elements in the subgroup A are not having the same properties of the elements of the subgroup B. For example, alkali metal like lithium, sodium, potassium of 1A group have little resemblance with coinage metals like copper, silver and gold of 1B group. So here the elements of 1A group, they have little resemblances with 1B group. So here it was taken into consideration and accepted. But when the seventh group elements were taken, then chlorine is of 7th A group and manganese is of 7th B group. So here chlorine is a non-metal whereas manganese is a metal. So which is totally dissimilar in the properties. So in this way, the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table, though it was successful to a certain extent, it has its defects, and later on it was corrected by other scientists, and his model is known as a new model, which you are going to learn in the next class.